What's up, everyone? Welcome back to our coverage of the GOAT over here on the Hit or Quit podcast. I am Jenny Autumn, and I am, eating my words as if I am Tosh eating the votes out of the GOAT's ass from last week because we're here. It's episode 7. I said Wendell wasn't going anywhere last week, and we've got an episode to talk about. So I am here, as always, with my great friend, Chappelle. Chappelle, how's it going?
I'm a little sad.
Oh, right?
I love Wendell. I do. I love watching him on TV. I loved watching him here in the GOAT. He seemed like he was having so much fun this season,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to Survivor, which is much more serious sometimes. I think last time we saw him on Survivor was Winners at War, and that was a whole it was very tense. The
Yeah.
Wendell exit and
It's a
and
heavy
episodes
season.
previous. Yeah, it really is. It's not one
Yeah.
of my faves, but this
No.
was light. It was fun. Wendell's back was against the wall. We've never seen him play like this before, and so I think he had a good run, but it has sadly come to an end, and I am very excited to talk to you about all of that.
Yeah. I called my shot at the end of what I thought was a really fun time last week with Mike Bloom. And you know, I'm always going to be reading into the edit and the
Mm-hmm.
previews, and I really just thought like, okay, the pendulum's going to swing back, and Wendell is very capable of winning challenges. He's going to be fine. He's lost his number 1. His numbers are very hurt here, but I still saw a universe where Wendell could win. And so I was very, very surprised to get the result that we got here. There was numerous times through this episode where I thought that he was going to get himself out of it. And I completely agree with you. It's been really fun to watch Wendell on a show like this because, like you said, like Survivor, even though sometimes it does lean into the silly, and that's kind of more new era Survivor. It's a heavy show. It's a heavy experience. It's like very intense, and I think it's hard to have a fun time and have it show because you're literally starving and not like so I think when you have a game like this, which I feel like a game you can use loosely at times here, but I think when you have these sillier newer shows that are like in a cushy mansion or whatever, like the GOAT and House of Villains and some of these other, I mean, even the Traders, I love seeing people that we've seen on shows like Survivor in these environments because you get to see a little bit more of their personality, I think. And I've always been a huge fan of Wendell. So it was very, very fun to see his ride here. Got to see underdog Wendell. And I'm still a little shocked. I can't believe that we're here. So I'd love to talk through how we got here, how we are down to the final 6, Wendell leaving us here in this week's episode. Yeah, so I feel like we should just start it off. And I feel
Yeah.
like this thing did not get shown in the episode last week, but again, my memory is shite. Wendell and Jill in the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
and the energy is different. The energy had already been a little different after losing Justin and Tech the previous week. And Wendell says, "Well, you said it was me or Reza."
Yeah.
So did they show Jill say this to Wendell, or is this
She said
again?
it. No, she said it on this episode. She said, "Well, it was
She
either
said
going to be
it on
you
this
or
episode, but
on
I
this
thought,
episode." Yeah.
well, I thought that they were saying that he said last night. You said, "Well, it was you or Reza."
No, she told him right then. She said, "Well, it was you or Reza," and he said, "Oh, it was me or Reza." And
I
she
literally
goes,
watched this scene twice. What is wrong with me? Because I
"I'm
thought
pretty
that
sure
he
she
was
just told him."
referencing. I thought he was referencing like while they were at the ultimation or whatever that Jill had said like, "Well, it was you or Reza," like to make him feel better or something like that about him
Yeah.
going.
I mean, she was trying to make him feel better, but it was in this
Yeah,
literal conversation. He's like, "Well, thanks for not
Jilly.
voting me out." And she was like, "Well, it was either you or Reza." So,
Oh,
and he's
I'm
like, "Well, oh, well, it was either me or Reza." She's like, "Yeah, but I mean, not like that. Like, it's not like it was going to be you or Reza. I'm just saying, like, it was either you or Reza." He's like, "Wait, so so I gotta win the next challenge. She's like, no, you don't have to win. He's like, but it was either me or Reza. He's gone,
Yeah.
so it's obviously just me. She's like, no, Wendell, stop it. You don't have to win the next challenge. But Wendell knows he needs to win the next challenge.
This conversation was so wild to me because, you know, perhaps this was a preview of Jill slipping a little bit here. Because I thought this was kind of like uncharacteristic. Like, I feel like Jill has been playing the game pretty tight, and I felt like this was kind of a messy, like, thing to be saying here, because even when she was trying to like explain it out, she was like, well, obviously not you because you were immune. I'm like, that's worse.
That does not help.
That
Does not
is
help.
worse.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Wendell
pretty
sitting
much.
there being like,
So I need to be immune again? Is that what you're telling me? And she's like, no. What? I mean, yes, but also no. I think, Jenny, I think it's hard to play from the front. I think people are so used to
Yeah.
like having to figure out ways to maneuver your way around the game, right? But when you get a comfortable lead, I think sometimes it's really easy to take your foot off the gas and to let your guard down, because Jill is not threatened by Wendell in this moment. She has the numbers, she has Davon. It seems like she has everybody in the house really kind of on her side. So it would take something catastrophic to get Jill in the final two. I mean, in the bottom two, to where she'd even be an option to go home. So she's just kind of like, yeah, I mean, Wendell, yeah, it's probably you or resident, just offhandedly. And Wendell, someone who has played from a leading position in one of these games, he heard exactly what he was looking for, which is confirmation that had he not won immunity, it might have been him. So yeah, this is not great for Jill. I won't say I don't think she's like getting sloppier. I just think that she's not aware that she should really be protecting her position right now. She should not be letting the people at the bottom know that they're on the bottom, even though it's painfully obvious that they're on the bottom.
Right. And the thing is not, you're absolutely right about like playing from the front or the top or whatever, where, you know, you're thinking about things differently, and you can get a little comfortable almost. The other thing here is she is playing with the assumption that the game is going to continue as it has up until this point, which we are, you know, it's going to be the top story of the episode. We're going to get Tosh army crawling into the room of them to basically, you know, tell us what we got the little preview about last week, that we are going to have a change of structure here at the final 7. And this is something where, because of that change of structure, this could have been disastrous for Jill. I really think, like, that's why I think, like, she got lucky that the way she was handling that conversation and the way things were going, that it didn't turn out worse for her. Because I really think there is a universe where, because of this structure change, she's in the bottom 2 and potentially going. Now we can get to this and talk through the different ways that this could have worked out, but we're gonna get, you know, Tosh with the Tosh bomb here, that no more teams. This is an individual game now. I feel like this makes sense. You get down to a certain point. We were talking about this last week, where we're like, okay, so we're down to 7. Is there going to be a team of 4 and a team of 3? And then if the team of 3 has the goat on it, then it's down to 2 people. And this is what we thought was going to happen. How do you feel about the structure change here?
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, this is exactly how Survivor and Big Brother are done, right? Like in Survivor, more so than Big Brother, is that it's a team competition, and then after you make the merge, or when the 2 tribes come together, and then you start sending people to the jury to place their vote, that's when it goes down to the individual game. And you're right. I think Jill is very comfortable in the team position. In the team game, she understood the assignment. What she said to Wendell is not that bad. It's not that damning in a team game, because she has the numbers. But the one thing Wendell has experience over Jill again in is that he's done the individual portion of Survivor again. So he's done it twice, actually. And so he's like, once you get down to the one-on-one, immunity is all that matters. As long as you can protect yourself, then these people have to start picking off each other, and that can really put holes in an alliance. Had Wendell been safe, then this huge alliance that Jill has essentially would have to find someone else who is not safe, to put in these spots, and she just wasn't prepared for the shift. right? Because now all the people at the bottom are going to be trying to make sure they're not next if they don't lose immunity. And here we are. It's like they can't hide behind the teams. They have to be reassured by the people in power. And right now, that's Jill and Davon. So everybody's going to be trying to shore up some new numbers here. And because the team portion just doesn't matter as much. So I thought it was a good, welcome change of pace because, again, we're starting to get a little monotonous here. So we had to change it up. And I like the way they figured out who would be in the bottom two.
And I really think that, it's too bad that we ultimately end up with the result that we get, because I really think that, this actually gave better opportunities to be safe
Mm-hmm.
than Wendell had. Like, I think that, a couple things changed slightly. And even though he was in the worst position coming out of last week, even without winning the GOAT, he could have been okay here. And had, had more say in what was going on. So Tasha's going to explain that, there's going to still be a GOAT. There won't be teams. Everyone for themselves, fight to the death. And the GOAT will have immunity, but they will also have new powers. And he doesn't tell them what those are to start. Which I thought was fun, because when we eventually get the reveal of what kind of powers the GOAT has, and I thought that was like a kind of fun reveal. Should we go through this challenge here to get us to our GOAT of the week?
Sure. I love this challenge. I think this is so imaginative in comparison to some of the challenges we've seen on all these shows.
Yeah.
It's so simple. It takes literally nothing to make a challenge like this. And in my mind, this is pretty equitable in comparison to a lot of challenges we see on Big Brother or Survivor, where it's like the strongest person will win, right? The tallest person will win. The biggest person will win. The person, with the most wingspan will win. This time it's just like the person who can count the best in their head will win. And I don't think that is unfair to anybody. You have to get the closest to 60 seconds and hit the buzzer. And I think everybody would have a fair chance at that. We need to see more challenges like this in other reality shows to keep it fair across the board so that everybody can have a chance or a equal chance at winning the game.
Yes, because we can assume most, the spelling ability of these whatever list celebrities is a little questionable. But we assume that most people can count to 60. We've all been in situations where we've done head counting before.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little worried about how this was going to play out, because I was like, oh my God, I really hope that they're not going to make us watch 60 seconds for each person in a way that's boring. But luckily, so this is Minute to Win It. We get Tosh, and it's game show week. We get Tosh in his Guy Fieri get up. And he gave the shout out to Guy's Grocery Games. Triple G.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's distractions, which we need to talk about the distractions. So not only you have the head-to-head, it was like the buzzer style, it was giving Big Brother, HOH knockout kind of competition. I would have loved if they had to choose who was up
who
against
goes
each
next?
other.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
I always love when you have like that component to it. But we're gonna get the head-to-head closest to 60 seconds. It stays in the game, the other person's eliminated, and there's going to be distractions during the round, so to throw off people's counting, of course. And as a person with ADHD, I was like, oh, because I can count, and I think I'm pretty good at like head counting and making sure I don't do it too fast. The distraction part is where I would be very, very concerned for myself.
Yeah, this is an ADHD podcast for anybody who's listening.
Yes.
We're both diagnosed to ADHD, and we make it through these podcasts. Yeah, no one's shocked by that, right? 2 hours into this, and we're still trying to figure out what sound a goat makes. But I too would have struggled with this. And prior to the distractions, like I can count in my head, but the thing about me is that I will distract myself. In my head, I'll be like, Mississippi, huh? I wonder if I can say Mississippi or if I could say another word that goes with Mississippi. Oh, shoot, I'm still on number 2. Damn, I probably missed it. Okay, I'll
how
just guess.
many seconds?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, look, a
Yeah.
goat. So like for me, it never, that line of thinking, it's never linear. It's never linear. It's just, I don't even try to make it. unless I'm like super hyper focused on one thing. And again, once you said the distractions, there's too many people in the room, Jenny, for me to be super hyper
Oh,
focused. When I prepare for podcasts, when I'm watching television shows, I have to get into a room by myself and I have
yes,
to turn
yes.
on and I have to look at it. I cannot lay on the couch. I cannot eat. Like I have to be focused on it or nothing happens. So for
Like,
me,
imagine
this is hell.
imagine so I always think about this, like, okay, so, we've been to many watch party for,
Mhm.
Survivor events and stuff like that. Can you imagine being someone who's watching the show for the first watch of that episode live with a million things going on, people in between on the commercials, like there's people, a huge room, lots of distractions, especially if it's like one of these watch parties that's in a bar. Can you imagine having to go and then talk about it right after the episode and not sound like an idiot? I
Jenny.
Because I am some of those, like, when I have to watch something live, so like Big Brother podcasting, for example, like watching Big Brother live and then hopping on to do that, to recap like right after. I need to be alone and I am not like, I'm taking notes. I need to be focused. I can't watch it with Phil because if he makes a comment about anything, I'm
It's a
completely
conversation.
thrown off. I didn't hear
Yeah.
anything. Like, I don't know. I missed a whole scene now.
Mhm.
So I completely understand. I have no idea how anyone can like just, I mean, I can improv, but if I want to feel prepared for something, I need no distractions.
Oh no, listen, you explained that watch party situation perfect. Now imagine me up during every commercial break trying to MC the damn thing. I don't ever
I,
remember what happens in the episode by the time it's over. I can only remember that one little segment before the commercial break
like,
because I am focused on that. The moment that's
yeah.
over, I couldn't tell you who went home. I'd be at them bars like, who was eliminated? What happened? They're like, you were there. I was not there. I was in the
But
zone. I was in the zone and now it's gone.
and you're so good because it doesn't read that way. And also I think that no one is expecting you to come in between commercials and like be like, and here is an essay on what happened
So
in
here are the
the
notes.
in the
Yeah.
time since the last commercial. But I just think about like when people have to, watch something in a chaotic environment and then come and be like an expert on something, or could not be me. Could not
No,
be me.
I'm out.
I need full concentration. I need to be able to rewind when when
Mhm.
I miss something. So yeah, the distraction part of it would be very, very challenging for me here. And I again, they had costumes they wanted to use. I thought we were going to get very different distractions for each thing, but instead it just ended up being like a couple of production members, I assume, in goat were they even goat costumes? They looked like sheep costumes. Again,
It looked like sheep. It did look
it
like sheep, but we're not the experts on these animals. Someone's at home yelling like, "For the love of God, it's a goat!" We're like,
they bleat,
look like
they
sheep to
bleat.
me. Yeah.
It's a similar enough situation, and they clearly said that with the costumes. They said close enough.
Well,
Um,
they had the goat NATO. They had the goat Tets. They had Tosh and the cheerleaders, which was also goats. So
yeah.
they had different versions of goat, but
But then
you know,
they had
no.
Black Sabbath, which
Sabbath. Yeah,
that
exactly.
is bat to me is sheep.
It's
So
sheep.
again, I think it's kind of one and the same if we're trying to
Mm-hmm.
say like we're really mixing the sheep with the goats at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting. But
Right.
and some of them didn't even have names. Like we had, yeah, the cheerleaders. We had, because like certain distractions, they had like a little like chyron on the screen that said what they
Mm-hmm.
were. And there were a couple where I think near the end they just kind of like phoned it in. They're like, there's yelling.
Yeah. We're just loud. We're just being loud. I think that's exactly what it was. It's like the important, like you get the gist of it after the first few. I think by the end of it, it's the suspense of the episode and the winning of the challenge. It has my full attention. So there could have been, again, ADHD brain. There could have
Yeah.
been something right there. I Sure. If there was, tell me because I definitely missed it.
Yeah.
So I'm with you.
The one thing that got me though, I think was the first distraction, was the Radio City Gotettes and with the
Yes.
where was Josh Martinez? The pots and pans.
Da, 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 da. Yeah. Exactly.
Josh Martinez for the GOAT season 2, actually.
I'm
That'd be
good. No
fun.
disrespect. No,
That
I'm okay.
would be fun.
I'm okay. Josh Martinez for House of Villains season 3. There you go. That's what he
Okay.
needs to be. Yeah, let's
Okay.
call him what
That's
it is.
fine.
Yeah.
Pots and pans welcome there as well, as we know. So
Oh yeah.
just be careful if
Tanisha did it
Omarosa's
first.
around. You might break a wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. These distractions were very low budget, but entertained me nonetheless. Coachella.
Yeah, Coachella is another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go NATO. There are a few.
And so we got to see what Joe's strategy was in this challenge, where I think he did the first round against CJ.
Mhm.
And CJ also, I think
She's one of
she's
us.
one of us. Yeah.
She's one of us. You could tell. She said, I walked into the room and forgot why I came in. I said, that's me at least 8 times a day.
Constantly.
Or even worse, I'm on my phone looking for my phone and it's in my hand. Yeah, like
where are my
that thing.
glasses? I'm wearing my glasses.
I literally came in here to get my keys. I put my phone down to pick up my keys and walked out without my phone, and then came back for my keys and couldn't find my phone. There you go.
Yeah.
That's day in the life. Welcome, CJ. Welcome to the club.
CJ, one of us.
One of us. One of us.
Mid confessional, she goes, "Is that a G-Wagon?"
I said,
like,
yes, it is.
Saying that she's like easily distracted, and I believed it. That did not seem like a bit. She's like, "Is that a G-Wagon?"
No, because I was taking my notes, and when she said, "Is that a G-Wagon?" I typed, "My shoulders are too big for a G-Wagon," and I forgot that was not part of it. I was like, "I'm not going to talk about that on the podcast. Why would you write that in your notes?" She took me on a journey.
I write notes to myself in my notes. Like I talk to myself in my notes. That's deeply relatable. So anyway, poor CJ would never stand a chance here because she's up against Joe, and Joe's got this strategy of, he thinks that other people, well, at least with CJ, and it feels like he uses this strategy in future rounds, that CJ will go too fast. And so all he needs to do is beat her. And so as soon as she's gonna buzz in, he'll buzz right after, and he does that, and he gets him the win.
I think this is a sound strategy. I think this is a strategy that everyone should use in general.
Because it's not
I think
like Price is Right rules where if you're over your like that's where it would be interesting. Even though they were wearing Price is Right name tags, it wasn't like you had to get the closest to 60 without going over. You could go over.
Right, exactly. So I feel like the strategy is you try to do your own 60 count, but the moment someone else touches it, you just hit yours too, because there's no point. Because if you wait one other second, you could pass 60, or you could you've already been beaten. You know what I'm saying? Once that person hits theirs, you should not wait another second, because you either already lost or you're about to lose. So you need to hurry up. And so I was like, man, that's a cool way of doing this. And it looked like a couple people did not catch on to that, and I was like, that's crazy that Joe kind of gamed that one a little bit. I'm liking the Joe edit. I'm kind of warming up to, like, all right, Joe, make a run at this.
First episode, I said that this is I called my shot, and then you agreed with me. So I feel like
I like the journey. I like it.
Yeah. I love when we get to have someone on a show like this where we're like, okay, we have no context for how they would do in a competition show. Even though this is like pretty loose in terms of competition, it's not like throwing Joe on Survivor. But we will get to that. I just love getting to see, this is how I felt about Pilot Pete on the Traders. You know what I mean? And even though it wasn't perfect, maybe didn't stick the landing. I love getting to see people that we've never seen in this context, like, show their like strategic chops, or see them in competitions and be like, okay, like I'm into this. And this is how I've been feeling about Joe. I'm very much enjoying Joe, and at this point I feel like or Joe is kind of where I'm at. with an outside chance of Jill here. But yeah, so Joe had the strategy, and I thought that Day had the strategy. We get to Jason versus Davon. And I
Mhm.
think that this was during the Coachella with the blowhorn, with the foghorn or whatever. I
Mhm.
don't like loud sudden noises, so this would be upsetting to me. Jason buzzes in first and Day immediately after, and I was like, yes, she's got the strategy. She's got the like, she's doing the Joe thing where you buzz in right after. Well, Jason buzzed in with 61 and then Davon was 61.2. So it's like it is a good strategy if you feel like you expect the other person to be too quick.
Yeah, again, like once the other person goes, there's nothing else you can do. Like I think
Yeah.
that you are supposed to count on your own. And
Mhm.
if they get to 60 before you get to 60, you just hit it. You know what I'm saying? But there's no point in waiting until you get all the way to 60 if the other person already gone. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no way that you can now, okay, if I wait 2 more seconds, I'll be even closer. You know, maybe there
Yeah.
is like a world where they say, okay, the closest person to get to 60, period, you know, throughout the all arounds or the fastest average or whatever, you know, maybe that comes back and helps you out later on. But ideally, if Jason hits at 60 and you hit at 61, there was nothing else you could do. There was nothing
Yeah.
else you could have done. Your number hadn't got there, so you know it just didn't work out for Davon right there.
And I mean, very close, like 61 and 61.2.
Yeah,
So
but I do want to talk about that round too because Davon, she faked him. She looked like she was going to go in and hit it, and that caused him to hit his, and then she hit hers. So she does
so
like a
if
dummy
she
swipe. Had she
right,
actually hit it, she probably would have beat him.
had to
Be,
have. I don't know
I mean,
exactly the timing of it, right?
it's
But
it's
like,
very close, but she does a thing
yeah.
where she just kind of hits the table, and he looks
Yeah.
up and he hits so he hits his buzzer. Then she hits her buzzer. It's like she tried to draw him off sides, and she
Yeah.
did. But at the same time, they had both exceeded the 60 anyway. So she should have just hit it.
Yeah.
She could have won that. She didn't. So you know, it is what it
But she
is.
might have
But
ultimately lost to Joe, who seems like even though he wasn't super close on all like really Jason was really close with that 61 in terms of being closest to 60. But
mm,
there's a chance Davon beats Jason and she still gets beat by Joe here.
she got
Um
really close in the Black Sabbath round
yeah.
against Jill. She did. So Davon had
Yeah.
a good chance at this one. It's just that I think she overgamed it a little bit, which might
Yeah.
be the story of her season. I don't know. We'll see.
I it's possible. I hope not cuz like we're in a situation now where, it was kind of the Davon versus Wendell saga and now you got to be like, okay, she win. Like she won
Yeah,
that battle. Let's win the war, baby. Um
it makes sense for Davon, who is one of the most gifed and memed reality TV contestants of all time, to literally win a game show called The GOAT. Because it's kind of like, no, because it's seriously, because like people
yeah.
have been critical of Davon's game in Big Brother for sure. They've talked about Davon in the challenge ad nauseum. But since the moment Davon stepped on a television screen, she has been on the Mount Rushmore of Big Brother players. You know, like for a
Right.
while, I think it was like Janelle was like the go-to like Big Brother character face of Big Brother for a long time. You know, she had played several times. She never won, but you knew what you were going to get with Janelle. And then Davon comes like prancing onto the scene through the door like that GIF. And since then, she's just been like so iconic. People don't even know where those GIFs come from. All the Davon memes and stuff like that. Davon
Yeah.
winning to go would just make sense to me.
Especially because like I think that there's a difference between, being an
The best
an
player.
icon and being like
Mm-hmm.
one of the best to play their game or whatever. And I just
Mm-hmm.
think that you put Davon on TV and you put her in a game and she's
She's
going
Davon
to
every time.
deliver
Mhm. The
regardless
GOAT of
of the
being on
result.
reality TV.
That's
Exactly.
what
Like
the
they
show
never said
is.
it's
Yeah.
right there. Give her her crown. Give her her things. She's
No,
right there.
exactly. That's why it's like you can't take this show's title so literally. Like you have to accept the tongue and cheekiness of it all because
Mhm.
I would even argue that some of the people that they cast, like, aren't even I mean, it's definitely easy to say that there are people that aren't the most like iconic, memorable, people from their shows. But even though Davon has not won any of the shows she's been on, exactly what you said, she delivers in entertainment and just being iconic on the shows she's been on. So if you want to use the framing of greatest of all time, greatest person at being on reality TV, then I feel very good about that definition and feeling like Davon is definitely a worthy person to receive that above all else on this cast, even, right? Like,
Yeah, big agree.
um, so that would be a very, very satisfying ending, but we still have a lot more to go through till we can get there. But we're ultimately going to get down to this final two of Joe versus Jason for the GOAT. And I definitely thought that Jason was gonna win it. I was like, okay. I don't know why. There's so many swerves for me in this episode. I guess my edit reading has gotten bad. There was one thing that Jason said. I don't know if you caught this. Was like right before he faces Joe. He's like, I don't care if Tosh comes out and sits on my head and takes a dump on me. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I missed
sir,
that. Jason, what are you doing? What? But Jason's got some
Jason.
one-liners. He's got all the little quotes or whatever. That man
Yeah.
said, "I'm from the South, and y'all gonna know
And
it."
yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
love yeah. I love the Southisms that we get from Jason. And I honestly feel like now that there's less people, we're getting more Jason content, which is fun because he is like a fun presence on the season. I'm not feeling winter vibes at all, but he gives good confessionals and we're getting like more sound bites from him. But ultimately we're gonna get our winner of Joe. Joe the grocery guy is our GOAT of the week, and we're gonna get some superpowers here.
Yes, his
Um,
new power is that he gets to choose somebody for elimination. And I thought this was so cool because he does get immunity, but I do think having the added bonus of you won the GOAT, so here's something
like
that can
HOH.
yeah,
Yeah.
that can further your game. Now he doesn't get to pick the two people that are going to be up for elimination, but he gets to be in charge of one half of whoever's going to be on the block. And it's no secret that he's going to pick Wendell. Like everybody knows it.
Yeah, and what I thought was interesting about this, so Tosh explains that, I've already told you there's no more teams. Only two people will be up for elimination by the end of this cycle here. And one of those people will be whoever comes in last in the elimination challenge. And the other is going to be chosen by the GOAT. And I'm thinking, okay, so we wait and see who wins the elimination challenge, who's in last, and then Joe will
Mhm.
select who's going to be next to them. No, no, no. He has to pick right there, right now, seconds after being crowned the GOAT, without any context of what the elimination challenge will be. It's kind of like picking your one nominee before the veto challenge. Um,
Mhm.
that's kind of really what it is. It's like you get to pick a single nominee and then there's going to be a veto challenge. And so yeah, no shock here. Wendell has voted for him twice, and he's gonna pick Wendell to be the one nominee or whatever, the one person up for elimination.
How did you
So I
feel
thought that was
about this format
interesting.
though? So how did you feel about it? Like, would you prefer it to been that he has to wait until after the elimination to choose, who goes up against whoever came in last? Because honestly, I
I
think I
think that's a
prefer
lot of power. I
that's
think
too
that's
much
too
power.
much
Exactly,
power.
it
Yeah,
is. It is. See,
and
because
because
I don't
you're
like when people can jump people in reality TV. I've been very
yeah.
vocal about that before. Like I don't like
Mhm,
when you can gang up on the one person. I don't. So
mhm.
even like the knockout rounds where you get to choose your opponent, I don't like it. I don't like it. Let me go up against whoever. Let it be random. So that way we're matching our skills against each other. So even this, I'm like, okay, he chooses Wendell. Wendell's in the bottom, but based on what happens in elimination, Wendell is his game is not over. Whereas, like in the other way around, you could almost rally the vote. It's like the veto, like you were saying, you could rally the
Yeah.
votes before you even figure out who's going to be up there next to them. So you can essentially stack the odds against them anyway. So I prefer this, but I was just
Yeah.
wondering what you think.
No, I did too. I think that I thought that it was going to be the other way and that they would just wait and see who was even eligible first, because obviously one person needed to be whoever came in last in the elimination challenge, and that Joe would then choose the other one. I liked that, he has to call his shot immediately, and now that person has an opportunity to win the next challenge and knows they have to. Puts a
Mhm.
little fire under their ass. Not that I think that Wendell needed that, but lays all the cards out and it's like, okay, hey, you're not completely screwed. You actually have an opportunity to get yourself out of this. And it's gonna be more than just an opportunity to get yourself out of this, because we're not done with the comma butts in this episode in terms of like format change. Um did they explain this before or after the challenge? I think they did
No,
before.
they
Yeah.
they did it right here. Yeah. So they,
Yeah.
I think Tosh asked Wendell, like, did you know Joe hated you so much? And Wendell's like, nah, I mean, I knew that I'd voted for him, but I see that I'm a target of his. But luckily for Wendell, he can save himself if he wins the elimination competition or the ultimation competition. If he comes in first place, then he's immune. And that will take him off the block. And then we find out later on that he can replace the nominee with whoever he wants.
Which is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, if we're using like Big Brother as like the comparison, if we're trying to like, talk about the GOAT as if it's kind of like a pseudo HOH and like the elimination challenge is like a pseudo veto. If the person nominated wins the veto and takes them off the block, they don't usually get to choose who takes their place. It would then be up to Joe to choose who would replace them. And we find out that no, not only like winning this challenge, it's almost as powerful as being the GOAT, which is
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
it's the diamond power veto. It's the
Yeah.
one where you can choose your own nominee. And I think this is the veto we all need. This is the one that you want the most, because yeah, not only can you save yourself, but you can flip the house upside down. Because if Wendell wins this challenge, then not only is he safe, whoever comes in last will be up on the block, but then he can look over and say, I don't know, Davon, maybe you could take my place. And we could see potentially Davon versus Jill, Davon versus CJ, and then maybe the votes fall a little bit differently. So Wendell, he has a couple of outs,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to be an uphill battle to get there.
But if you get the out, you get like a lot of power for someone
Mm-hmm.
who was in a really, really bad position, hours prior, which is why I said like there are universes where because of the structure change and the things that were in place, Wendell could still be here and like the game is in a totally different situation. So I do think the format change is fun because it could be rewarding to an underdog position if you can win a challenge. Um so that we get a little segment about like life back at the house, and we get a little bit more about our girl CJ, talking about her strategy to play nice with the girls, um which I love that we're getting acknowledgement that she knows that she needs to stay in good with the girls, and but she's also aware that in the game sense she's not in a great position with them. um and I think we get a little preview of maybe some more potential drama between Paula and CJ, where Paula says she likes CJ as a person, but as a player she doesn't trust her at all. So even though CJ's working the social game, like it doesn't seem to actually be penetrating in terms of game moves with the rest of the girls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's trying. She is trying.
Yeah,
But I think the problem is like with Paula, we find out is a professional wrestler as well. And
yeah,
so
I
she's
did
a
not know this.
competitor. Yeah. So
Yeah,
she's not going to forget this. CJ betrayed her. She doesn't trust her still. And she's like, yeah, you're still one of my targets. And so now that we know that Wendell is exiting on this episode, it is paramount that someone like CJ or even maybe Chef Jason wins the next challenge, or at least is able to save themselves in the ultimation challenge, because all signs are pointing to it being one of them to go next. I mean, if CJ wins, if Paolo wins the GOAT, then we know who might be up against
Yeah.
up against the wall at that point, and I think it's CJ.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. But I feel like I relate so much to CJ though. And I am again
Yes, no,
like
she's the
really
most fun on the
enjoying
show
her.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's trying to make fun because she's like, uh, there's just so much about her like that really spoke to me because she's like, you know what? I want to get to know everyone because I feel like I only really know people from like the context of the game, and you can tell that she's a person. She wants to get to know these people better, and she's like, there's limited. Like I would be that person at the pool party, sitting in the pool, being like, "What happened, guys?" Like that would be me being like, "I thought we were all having fun. Where'd my friends go?" And so she wants to play this game. Was it a game? I guess it's not really a game. Everyone's gonna write 2 questions, put it in a hat, and they're gonna sit around a fire, and everyone's gonna answer the questions.
Mhm.
Which I thought was a fun idea. They're getting down to only a few people in the house. You gotta keep yourself entertained somehow.
Yeah, yeah, and then again, this is people getting to know each other. It's a less game body and like strategy. I feel like from jump, people like Devon and Jill, they've been really tapped in, and then you have people like
Mhm.
CJ who's been like, "What? We have to do this all the time," you know. And so I think this is finally her being like, "Okay, can we do something I want to do?" And I think getting to know each of these people and really getting to make bonds with the people in the house is also very fun. And so they sit around,
Yeah.
they ask each other questions. And were you surprised by any of the questions and answers that we got in this moment?
I was surprised about the format because they would show like the person reading out the question, and I'm like, okay, I assume that if you're reading out the question is for you. But there were
Mhm.
so many occurrences where like Jason, like I felt like Jason was like a little turned up. Like he was like answering for people. Like did you notice that he kept on, so the first question, Joe's reading and it's like, what was the name of your first crush? And Jason goes, big boobs.
Yeah, big boobs. It's like, dang.
And I was
Um,
like, he's answering, and then Joe was like, yeah, big boobs. And I'm like, I have so many questions after this. I was like, who is Big Boobs? Why
mhm.
is that their name? Why does Jason know the answer to this question
Okay,
for Joe?
to be fair, Joe answered the question. He said Alexandria. Jason cut in with big boobs at that point. I guess
He
he's
said
assuming that
Alexandria?
Alexandria.
Are you
Yes, he
watching
said
a different
Alexandria.
version than me?
I,
What
I'm,
the
I'm
hell?
serious. Yeah, I'm serious.
Is my
No,
ADHD that bad?
Jenny, I'm joking.
Oh my god, stop fucking with me. I believe you though. This is the gaslighting that goes on when you have problems with paying attention.
Yeah,
I fully believed you. I was like, "Oh my god, like how did I miss that he said a name?"
no,
And
no.
then okay, thank God.
Listen, Jason said big
I will
boobs,
never forget
and
this.
Joe concurred. You will never forget
Yeah,
this. I'm sure you will.
I will. I will literally
I would
forget
bet
this.
money that you will.
I've already forgotten it.
It's like, what was the name you said? Yeah.
You're like, "Sure, bitch. Sure." That's why it's so fun to have friends that have ADHD because it's like,
Yeah, where are we at now in
whatever,
the
man.
conversation? I don't
Whatever,
remember.
man.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Yeah. So this wasn't the only occurrence of like Jason chiming in. Like he was like his own peanut gallery during this challenge. Um Wendell has a question that's, what is the biggest mistake of this lifetime or something like that? And
Yeah.
then Jason again pipes up and goes, shitting in the ocean.
And Wendell doesn't deny it. He's like, well, I was like, well, what does that mean, Wendell? Would you prefer it? I don't know. Again,
He
Jason
said
is
it was
taking.
liberating.
Yeah, but like that would be a mistake, right? Yeah, so we never really even get the answers because, like you said, Jason is kind of yeah, he's heckling everybody and drawing
Yeah.
everybody's attention away. He might be one of us too, Jenny. He might be
I
one
think
of
that
us.
he
One
might
of
be one of us. One of us. Yeah, to me it was giving like Jason was maybe over serving himself, and like
Mhm.
he couldn't he couldn't help himself because he's like, I've got a funny quip for that. Like I have
Yeah.
to like yell my answer
He's having a good
at
time,
every
man.
question. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, one of us, one of us. Shitting in the ocean.
Shitting in the ocean. Yeah, yeah, nah.
It's
I
like a
don't listen.
water birth.
It's like, Jason, how do you know? Why have you been shitting in the ocean, Jason? Yeah,
That's
what is
just
your
a regular
reason?
Tuesday for him.
In Kentucky? The man from Kentucky. There's no ocean there. You know, I don't know.
Maybe,
Look,
well, okay, ocean, just any body of water.
any
I'm
body of
sure
water,
there,
really. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
He's just pro aqua dump.
Yeah, he's pro aquadump, but I feel like
Nothing wrong with that.
Wendell says it was liberating, most liberating feeling. And so I was so confused about this because then it seems like Jason also agrees with him. He's like, it's like a water birth. And I'm like, so is it a mistake? Because I feel like that's not a mistake then.
Nah.
I feel like the consensus was that was better than the
It was the
alternative.
goal. Yeah, it's like you were in a boat and then you went into labor, so you had no choice but to do a water birth. You know, that's how Jason's making
Mhm.
it
But
sound.
people choose to have water births.
Yeah,
So
but he's saying this is an unexpected one. This
and it's
was,
an
you know, like
accidental water birth.
yeah, we were driving over a bridge and then we just couldn't, so we just like dumped her out into the ocean and then we had the baby. I don't know.
It's
Jason's making
like
it sound like this very unpleasant.
it's like those like I think this is like a show on TLC where it's like I didn't know I was pregnant and then like women just have
Yes,
like a baby on the toilet. Does that count as a
so
water birth?
terrifying. Not. I think you have to be in the toilet for it to count as a water birth or a water birth.
But what
But
if
yeah, those stories are terrifying. Oh, I
literally
can't even imagine.
terrifying.
Yeah,
Literally
prayers for those
terrifying.
women.
That is the scariest thing of all. But yeah, that's kind of how Jason was making it sound because I wouldn't say pooping in the ocean, and Jam Jam would definitely say pooping in the ocean is not the biggest mistake of the lifetime. He was the most excited to go on Survivor and do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to know your answer to the question that CJ asks, which was, would you shave 10 years off of your life for $100 million cash, tax free? Everyone was like,
No.
Joe would take it. Joe would take it.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like I am a very impulsive person, but I'm also terrified of dying. And so,
Yeah.
no, this is not something I would do. Like, because in my mind, where my paranoia goes is, I will take that money and I'll die tomorrow because I only had 10
Hmm.
years left and didn't know it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you could
Right.
tell me how much time I had left, like if you were like, okay, Chappelle, you're gonna live to 98. I'm like, all right, okay, cool. Give me the 10. You know what I'm saying? Take those 10, give me the money. Because then I know, okay, around my 80s, I can start to wrap this up.
Yeah.
But if I
If you
don't
know
know,
you have like 11 years left
you can
and
have 10
yeah,
years in a day. You literally could
yeah,
get ready to sign the check, and all of a sudden I just die because I took away 10 years. I might have 5 years left. Before I even get the sentence out good, I'd be dead. So no, I don't
yeah.
this is not the question for me. I don't like this at all. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. I really like I didn't have a knee-jerk reaction to what felt right, which is why I wanted to see what you thought. I I am also scared of like the idea of dying and the passage of time itself is just something that traumatizes me on the daily. I'm
Mhm.
already like uncomfortable with how much time has already passed. um
Mhm.
but yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like
That was the first thing in my
if
mind,
you
Jenny. It
don't
was
know like how much time, if you're because if you're just operating from the assumption that like you're gonna live to what a average expectancy is for whatever, um that's one thing. But there's like the unknown. It's like, can you live like that?
no,
It's yeah,
no.
I don't here's the thing. I'm not someone that needs a lot of, I mean, I need money. Please. You have a
Please
$100
pay us.
million cash that hanging around and you wanna give it some of it to me. Please do. I would love some more money, but I don't even know what I would do with that much money. You know what I mean? It's
Oh,
like
ho, ho. I'm the opposite. I got every dime of that money allocated already in my head. That's why I need to know I have all those years left over because
see,
I got only a little money and no and less time now. You know what
which
I'm saying?
I'm sure I could spend it, no question. But I'm one of those people where when, like, someone asks you, like, "If you won the lottery tomorrow, what's the first thing you would do?" Like, I have a hard time answering that question because, like,
Oh,
I think in most cases it's, like, have a party. Um,
oh no. See, I wish y'all could see my look, reach into my documents. I have folders of just the days I've daydreamed what would happen if I won the lottery right now. Like I think I have a
like,
different situation
immediate
for if
first
I
thing you go on a trip, right? Like
obviously, yeah.
yeah,
Cause so here's the thing: you get the money, or even before you get to first of all, you send somebody to get the money. You don't even go get the money. You're too rich for that
okay.
now. You send
Yeah,
somebody to go and handle your affairs, right? Your lawyer, your
right.
power of attorney, whatever. You do
You
that.
suddenly
And then
have a
you
butler.
right. You well, that's the first thing you the moment you find that out, you have to like, all right, we gotta hire somebody. That's the first step.
Yeah.
Then
First
then
step,
you
hire
leave.
someone to do shit for you.
Yeah, you leave and you separate yourself from all the distractions. And you just
Okay.
spend like a week in just like
To just
paradise
detox,
to just
yeah.
to just
And
detox
not
and to
detox,
just right and to just like
probably
you
to have
probably
talks.
tox a
Tox.
lot.
To
Over
detox from,
tox.
like, regular old life that sucked,
Yeah.
and now you're
And then yeah.
living.
And
Yeah.
go and put yourself in a stress-free situation so you don't make any knee-jerk decisions, right? So you're not
Okay,
like,
facts.
oh,
Yeah.
let me handle this, and just separate yourself from all the people who are gonna ask you for money, all the other bills,
Mm.
and just sit there and then just in paradise. I'm picturing myself, passion fruit mimosa,
Oh,
looking at the beach. I'm right there, and then I just have a little notepad and I just reach over and every now and then I just jot something down that I want to do, and I just spend like a week doing that, and then I come
wow.
back and I have it all planned out. You know what I'm saying? It's like boom, boom, boom. You just start tackling this stuff. You can even set it up to where when you get back, it's already in motion. But you gotta separate yourself from people,
This
and it's
doesn't
all inclusive. So you just indulge and live your life like everything's normal for a week, but you're on
Chappelle,
vacation.
this is reading to me like someone that likens themselves as like a different Enneagram number, and like this does not scream Aries 7 to me. Like
Oh, it's
I
got to
would
be
think like
calculated in the beginning. It has
immediately
to
just
start
like
there.
I mean that's
I
right.
have
You
the
were right.
handcuffs on myself, Jenny. That's the thing. I know. I did you not
You
hear
know
how much thought I've put into this? I'm
because you know.
removing
Yeah.
myself from the public because I'm a danger to myself now. The moment I got that money,
Yeah.
lock him up because
See,
he's on the loose. So it's like you
see,
gotta go separate yourself. You do.
you're right. And like that sounds so smart because my first instinct is because I'm so like like I want to be with people like let's celebrate is like
Mm-mm.
call a bunch of people and be like we're going on a trip together. But you're right.
Mm,
Like
mm-mm. That
damn.
not for me because the moment I go find
You
people,
thought
I'm
about
like,
it.
again my files, my folders. I'm
Mhm.
telling you, it's it's a science, Jenny. You have to be ready for this kind of stuff. Now, why I think
This is
that would
why I'm
ever
gonna be
happen to
broke
me?
forever, Chappelle. Okay.
This is
I
why
don't
I'm gonna be
have
broke
the
forever. This is
files.
all I get. All I get is just the imagination of it. That's when my real Enneagram number comes back. He's like, hey, just imagine how cool that would be, right? That's
Cool.
there you
Yeah.
are. There he is. There's
Fantasy.
the
Yeah.
Enneagram. There's the Aries. He's
Mhm.
back. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, facts. Okay, well, I mean, I think that you've probably I've come around to the fact that not that I really knew the answer to the question in the first place, but the question of the time and not knowing what that looks like, if the last 10 years of my life are going to be old and painful, then sure, I'd be like, fuck those years. But
Mm-hmm.
if I, still young like I am now, so young and so much ahead of me, a youth, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
And I only have like 10, 11, 12 years left anyway. Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I need to
Okay.
know. I need to know
Well,
what time we got left. I just got to
yeah.
know.
But I also don't want to know. That's so
No,
scary
I
too.
only want to know if I'm getting the money. If I'm getting the
Yeah.
money, I need to know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's when I need to know. Other
If
than
you
that,
to
shoot,
make the
YOLO.
decision, yeah.
Uh
Because
huh.
can you
Yeah,
imagine when
exactly.
people are like, if you found out like when the day you were gonna die, like I'd be like,
I never want to know. Never.
I
Nope.
would
Don't tell
want my
me.
brain erased so that I did not live with that knowledge because
I would want
that's the
to
stuff that gives me
expedite it.
anxiety.
I would want to
Yeah, I'd be
expedite that
like
date because I can't live with
why as well we
knowing.
just do it now because I'm gonna just live
Oh,
in
yeah.
agony until that moment.
Uh huh. Exactly. That
Yeah,
day that it happens is gonna suck, and I don't want to know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You get it, you get it. Um, so I don't know, anything else from this segment. It's kind of filler stuff, but we get stuff from Wendell here. Like big Wendell episode. Um we get a Jeremy Collins summoning, which seems very timely considering the Traders US announcement that we just got this week. Because Wendell kind of is talking about how at the time of the filming, he's got a baby on the way, like very soon. He's got a son coming, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, that's amazing." Davon already knew about it, which we get the reveal of that she's like, "We're friends. Like, I knew about this." And Wendell talks about how he mentioned this at the beginning of the game. This is a pretty like important thing that he's been holding, a big thing in his life that he's been holding back from his castmates. And when you're playing a game like this, the timing of when you reveal that is very important. And he doesn't name drop him, but he says there was someone that won Survivor, and in the final tribal council, mentioned that his wife was pregnant, and then he won the game unanimously. He's obviously talking about Jeremy Collins. And I thought that was interesting. Because again, we don't really know how this game is supposed to end, but you can see that he's thinking about like, you got to be careful about when you share this kind of information, because it can hurt you or help you depending on like the situation here. Obviously, this was a very like organic time to share such a thing, instead of just like your name's up for elimination and you're like scrambling and you're like, my baby. Like, this did feel very organic.
Did it? Because I'm like
Davon. They're sharing thing. It like the point of the activity was to answer questions and like get to know each other a little bit better. And the question that prompted it was about like the most important person in your life. And so I mean, he answered it in a way that kind of probably to him, he felt like he needed to divulge that information.
Did he? To
Do you
me,
think
this
that
really read. Yeah, it read his game to me. It did.
Yeah.
It read like.
I mean, I think
Wendell,
that it was partially game, but
Yeah.
I think that he found the time where he was like, okay, like I do think that he's still thinking about game, but he was like, this is an organic time to share this.
Yeah, I felt like he felt like this is the perfect chance for me to try to use this to gain some sympathy to get off the block. I'm like,
already
yes,
in trouble. Yeah.
because he does tell us he's waiting on the final tribal council essentially to do this reveal, but he's running out of time. I cannot do the reveal. I can't kill the Jeremy Collins. Exactly. Yeah. So what if I just grease the wheels a little bit on maybe getting me off the block by saying, hey, I really I got a lot going on, blah blah. People might loosen their grip on the game a little bit for that. Davon says she will not, but I could see that being, like I said, I'm not going to question his sincerity about his moment with his baby. Like that definitely is heartfelt, of course. But the timing is interesting. I understand it came up in a conversation, but I do think that like this was one of those. I'm going home this episode, so I have to do something.
Okay, so you think that if the GOAT challenge had gone differently, and either
if he was not on the block,
or he wasn't named, that he probably would have waited a little bit longer.
He probably would have waited, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, because it just sounds like he was waiting on the grand reveal, right? And so for me,
but I do still feel like yeah, no, I definitely see what you're saying. I just felt like there are so few like well, maybe not. I just felt like that seemed like a very normal time to share such a thing.
Yeah. It was the moment,
it not
for sure.
to come off like, yeah. So convenient for him that was set up for him to do so.
Yeah, Jenny, you've met Wendell, right?
Yes.
Okay, when I met Wendell the first time, Wendell screams Survivor winner, and not like in his just like movement around people, in his ability to do stuff. I was helping him set up for an event, and he like jumps up on this chair, and like not like on the seat of the chair. He's like standing on the back of the chair, and I'm like, oh my god, Wendell's going to fall, and he's just standing up there, and he's like, hey, hand me that hammer and he's just going to work, and me being me,
I would love
mumbles under my breath. all I mumbled under my breath, and he heard me, was, how did they let you win this? God, I voted you out the first chance I got. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's
I
like,
mean, he's
you would
got
have
the
voted me out,
juice,
Chappelle.
you know?
Yeah,
Like,
but it's like he
yeah.
screams
But
like,
he's
if you let this person get further, then he's going to beat
mhm.
you. And so for me, I'm like, if I'm Wendell, I'm pulling out all the stops because I'm probably aware that I come off like that. But also, I don't think he can help it. I think he's just a competitor, and I think that kind
Yeah.
of stuff will always translate into game. Uh, but it will check both boxes, right? It's like the game is never off for somebody as competitive as Wendell.
Well, and the thing is that, like, and what I think has helped him in games is that he's so charming and likable that is disarming and almost distracting from all of like the
Distracting.
natural capabilities to the
Mm-hmm.
point where we actually hear, you know, I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but we are
It's
going to get
fine.
into a situation where the two people up for elimination are going to be Wendell and Jill is tripping. Like, and I don't mean in the way that she hurt her back. Like, she's actually concerned for a second about being up for elimination against Wendell because she says he's so liked, like he's so likable, like he could actually pull this off. Knowing her position in the game, knowing the people that she's been working with, that you know that the numbers are there to get rid of Wendell. He's so good at, you know, endearing himself to people and like making genuine connections with people that she's still questioning that he might be able to pull it off. So I
Mm-hmm.
really do think that speaks to like that natural like social ability,
Mm-hmm.
which paired with being good at stuff like you said is like such an insane combination. So you're right, like it it is just how do you let this man win?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we almost get it here. Like we can talk about the elimination challenge quickly here. We're gonna do another game show type thing. Um, in the meantime, Jill has pulled her back or something. She
Yeah.
Do you know she was putting on a shoe? She pulls her back. She needs cortisone injections. We get mention of Phaedra, who they must have been filming in Atlanta. Because why did Joe say, do you know any housewives of Atlanta?"
Right. Yeah, I feel like they're in the Georgia area for sure if
Okay.
that was what came up because
Yeah.
yeah, that random like, hey, do you know any housewives around here?
Like,
Just came out of nowhere.
specifically, do you know any housewives in Atlanta? And then Jill says, I know Phaedra. And she knows doctors. I'm gonna get
Okay.
Phaedra to get me a doctor.
This is such a flex. This is such a flex. The way Jill Zarin just proved why she should be in the running for the GOAT is
Yeah.
because she hurt her back and called an equally famous person to run an errand for her. Could you go find me a doctor, please, and send
Doctor.
them my way? That's what she called somebody who does not take phone calls from everybody. Phaedra
Yeah.
Parks is way too famous and busy to take random phone calls. But Jill Zarin and Phaedra are close enough to where she could call her and be like, hey, girl, send me something. This is wild. This is
Yeah.
wild. This did not
I was like,
happen.
there must be some sort of medical on like associated with production, but she said, no, 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 no. I want the doctor that Phaedra knows. I want the
I
best.
need a doctor because they're going to tell Jill, okay, we need to send you to the hospital or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And Jill does not want to leave. She's like, I don't want to leave. I don't want to have to go anywhere. Send some shots. Go get somebody. Bring me somebody. I don't care what it is. Bring them to me because if I have to go to a hospital or something, I might not get to play in the game. Jill is tapped in. I like this side of Jill. She's so
Oh, she
competitive.
was, yeah. I was
Yeah.
worried for a second that she was like her head was gonna fall out of the game because she did get a little like upset at points, but she is like, this is what I need to do because otherwise I'm gonna be out of this game. She really went straight to business. Like just seeing her talk to the production being like, I need cortisone injections now. I need to go. I was like, oh my God, okay. She knows what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna get to an elimination challenge. And at first, Jill is not there. Davon is worried because if Jill doesn't show up, she's going to be disqualified and is going to be one of these two people on the block. Surprise, surprise. Jill shows up in the last second.
Mm-hmm.
hobbles down the stairs. She seems like she's doing better. And this is the Wheel of Misfortune.
Yeah.
And this is also where it's going to be revealed that Wendell will get to pick his replacement if he's the one who wins, which is where Davon is going to be like, oh, shit.
Yeah, but this means the lights are on, Wendell. It's time to put up or shut up. This is the moment where you have to rise to the case. You have to win this challenge. By winning this challenge, it could change your fortune in the game completely. And so there's nothing standing in the way except for himself. All of these challenges are based on your own performance. And so this is going to be this is a nasty one, Jenny. I don't know. I'm not a fan of this. I would not have done well at this.
I have feelings about this. Okay, because so the Wheel of Misfortunes, it basically you spin a wheel, what you have to complete the task that it lands on. If you fail or quit, you're eliminated. And the last person standing is, safe from elimination. And they also are going to get 500K or 5,000K, right? Wait, 5K.
5K.
5,000K.
$5,000.
$5,000.
$5,000.
5K. $5,000 and or
Flex.
5K. Same number. Okay.
Yes.
And so the first task, Joe gets the first task. And this, let's keep in mind, this man is already safe. He's the GOAT. But everyone is now freaking out because Wendell is good at stuff, as very reported here.
As outlined,
and if he wins, he is not only safe, but he is going to put somebody else in danger, and that's scary. So, Joe, he's put a target on his back by putting Wendell up here. He needs to be dedicated to keeping Wendell in his place, and his first task is a box of cockroaches that he has to stick his head into and then pull out with his mouth 3 goat figurines from it. This is by far the worst task of all of them. And this was we blew the load immediately. Like, this was insane to me, right?
I completely disagree. Completely disagree.
What?
The cockroaches you don't have to eat them. All you have to do is put your head near them. Yeah, they're by your face, but that's all. They're by your face.
Oh,
you grab a couple of the goats and get out of the way. I don't want to put anything in my body. And there are other. You're like, I would have done
I would
none
just
of
be
these.
like, sorry guys, like fuck y'all.
The cockroaches are like
they're fun.
Oh, I could do the cockroaches every time. That, like, as long as I don't have to eat them. Yes, they might touch my mouth, but I don't have to physically eat the cockroach. Cool.
See,
I just got to get my head in there and get out of there. Oh yeah, I'm done. I would have cooked this.
And I feel like, and I recognize that because a lot of the other ones were eating, and some of them I think were challenging, not from like a willpower standpoint, in like your mouth does not have the moisture to even get said thing down, which I think is like kind of hard to avoid. Some of these things were easy. Like, this was not a challenge that was created equal. Like, we praised the goat challenge, the minute to win it. That was fair. That was a level playing field, except for if you have ADHD. This felt like random nonsense because one of the things was just ice cream, which CJ is vegan. I understand that's a personal challenge for her, which I feel like you shouldn't have to like compromise your morals if that's, what it is for you. But again, it's not my game.
I mean, it wasn't ice cream. It was sweetened milk fat is what it was.
It was ice cream.
It was sweetened milk fat, and that's very close to ice cream.
It was just ice cream.
But that's not the same as sweetened milk fat. No, sweetened milk fat is that condensed, that cow milk in that condensed form. That's like all like blah, blah.
This was ice cream. It said ice cream.
It said sweetened milk fat, and I was like, no.
The wheel said sweetened milk fat. The Chiron, when she went to do the challenge, and Tosh said, it's
Tosh
ice cream.
said ice cream, but you cannot trust Tosh. He is a liar.
On the screen it said ice cream in 1 minute or whatever.
I don't remember that.
I'm telling you, I don't.
And regardless, I'm still not eating ice cream. It's nasty. I don't like it.
What?
I would have I hate ice cream. I don't like this. This I
You
would
would
have
have
run for
rather
the
done
hills.
cockroaches than ice
I don't have to
cream.
eat the cockroaches
You have to put your face in a box of them. That's
near
so
them.
crazy.
You know,
They could be
I
crawling. He said it stank in there.
oh, okay. Like the smell's funny. That's all. You know what I'm saying?
This
Like,
is
that's nothing. That's cake.
this is so interesting to me because I've never felt so strongly about like how that was by far the worst thing.
No,
Like
no.
Wendell has to eat habanero pepper with ghost pepper sauce and Reaper powder
That's
dust on
worse
top.
than the cockroaches,
For
Jitty.
sure,
Because
because that was going to impact him for days probably.
oh, and it's like your body, like, yeah, you would love to eat it, but your body is rejecting it as you're doing it. At least the cockroach is
Yeah.
your own willpower. Your body, if your body says you're not eating this, you're just not. It's not gonna
I'm
happen. There's nothing you
afraid
can
of
do.
bugs though. Like I am like viscerally afraid of bugs. Like I had a coworker come and kill a small spider from my office the other day because I am
Yeah.
such a baby. I understand that it's irrational, but I freaking like there's absolutely no way I'd be like, sorry guys, you're on your own. Like I'm not doing this cockroach thing. Absolutely not. However, the
Mhm.
mustard, I could have had 10 cups of that mustard.
Ah, I'm sorry,
And
I'm
let's
out.
do
This is
mustard shots for
mustard
fun.
shots. Jitty. No, no, no,
There's a
no.
video of Phil and I doing a mustard shot at
No,
Canada's
it's not.
Wonderland.
Stop it. That's not a wonderland. That's hell. I don't like this. I don't like this. Tag me out. I'm out. I'm
It's
out.
just
Bring back the pimples.
mustard.
Bring back the pimple popping.
No.
Yeah,
I
bring
just
back the
thought that, like,
pimples.
and I know that there will be other people that agree with me, so I'm not insecure about this
No, I
take.
think I know I'm in the minority on this one. I do not like well, I don't like ice
But
cream.
also just like I don't know. The mustard, the ice cream, I believe that it was hard to do the spicy rice because
Nobody
again,
did
and I
it.
think the hot dogs were probably hard because of the bun. Anything that sucks the moisture out of your mouth and you're trying to like
Mhm.
speed eat something, that's challenging.
Yeah.
And that seems
What
to
was
be
that?
like what eliminates a lot of people.
What was that TikTok challenge people were doing where it was like you had to eat like a was it cinnamon? Was it like you
Yes,
got to eat a
the
spoonful
cinnamon
of cinnamon or something
challenge.
like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and immediately people were just choking because it was just like sucking the air out
It's
of
so
them.
dry, right?
Yeah.
No. The mustard, I'm out. Davon's she's a
So
champ for doing that.
the mustard, I think, is the easiest one.
Blah.
The
Give
mustard
me
and
the
the
roaches.
frozen pickles.
The frozen pickle.
Can
Now
you
that's now that
can you
there. Oh, I'd have laughed in their faces. Frozen pickle. That's cake. That's not what. That's so
that's my
easy.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, "Hello, I would love some frozen pickles." I'd be like, "Oh,
I was
thank
like,
you. I
I've never
appreciate
had
you."
one before, but I think that I think it
Sounds great.
next to the wasabi and the habanero pepper.
Yeah.
I'm good. Give me the pickles.
CJ really gets out easy. I can't believe that she doesn't win this because her two things were the ice cream sundae, not sweetened milk fat,
Sweet and
and
milk fat.
a bowl of iced pickles in 1 minute. But she seems to not like pickles. So if you're not a pickle person, this is disgusting to you. But I'm like, I'm killing the mustard task. I'm killing the pickles. Davon had to eat peas and peanut butter.
Yeah, no, I'm out.
Again,
This is just not my
I love
challenge. This
peanut
is
butter,
it.
but the peanut butter would it sucks the
Yeah.
moisture out of your mouth, like,
Yeah,
you're
it becomes
losing
less
your
about
ability.
is this edible and more about can I finish it in a minute? You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah,
think that's the whole, the whole challenge becomes like, yeah, sure, Wendell could eat 3 hot dogs, but can you eat them in 60 seconds with the bun? Can
right.
can you get down this ice cream with a brain freeze, you know what I'm saying, in a minute?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of how what the challenge was supposed to be. But personally, I don't want to eat any of this stuff. I'm good. This would have been the challenge I lose. I'd have been on the block next to Wendell. Sorry.
I mean, if I were Joe and I spun and got cockroaches first, then I absolutely would have lost, but I
That'd have
would have
kept me in the
had
game.
hope for myself with any of these other things. How did you feel about the stick of butter? Jason ultimately
Yeah.
wins this with a stick of butter.
My stomach is turning just watching, just thinking about all the stuff that they ate.
He was like
I could.
sexually eating that stick of butter, like locking eyes with Wendell.
I was like, bro, don't look at me. Don't look at me. Don't look at me in the eye when you do that. It just because it is more because of the butter. It's just I just in my mind, it's just not supposed to be eaten in bulk. And I had a friend when I was younger. You know, I don't know if you ever been to those like banquets and they have the little balls of butter
Oh yeah.
on
Oh
like a
yeah.
little dish. I had a
Yeah.
friend who would just eat those. I was like, that is so gross. I'm sorry.
I mean,
Y'all have found
I
my weakness. I
wouldn't
love food.
choose to do that, but if someone asked me to, I would. Like,
I
it's
love
just
food, but
butter.
there is a line between what is food and what is nonsense. And they were eating nonsense. Bring back the food.
I
Make
think I
food great
easily could
again.
have done the stick of butter as well. Again, because like
Blech.
I assume it's warm there. It's already soft. It's just gonna glide down the throat.
Blah. What? See, what happened to? Wasn't tub of snakes on the spinning wheel? Nobody got the tub of snakes. That would have been where I cooked. Okay, bring me the tub of
I
snakes.
also
Oh,
would, yeah. That's the thing is I feel like
yeah.
we got kind of screwed by the wheel because some of these were really weak sauce. I don't know. I feel like they were not equal things, but again, it's perhaps it's subjective because you would have preferred things completely different from me.
Mm,
And that's what wow.
I can't stop
I
thinking about
love
the
I
stick of
love
butter. It's
just
so
learning
nasty.
about people's differences. I would
No,
have been
food needs
like
to be food.
mustard and frozen pickles all day. I'll finish off some ice cream after. I'll do the
Ugh.
stick of butter. It's the
No, no.
bready things that I think I would struggle with. The bun of the hot dog, which of course I like wouldn't even be able to eat, but I would do it. I would do it for a challenge.
Yeah, for a
So
bunch of money. Yeah.
yeah. So Wendell gets far because he did the pepper, but he fails on the last one, and he says the wieners got him. So he's gonna be
Yeah.
up for elimination still.
I mean, Wendell handled those wieners like a champ. I mean, at some point, I was just like, Wendell, just stick them both in your mouth. You know, you got it.
Just
You
double
know,
dough.
just
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, drop your jaw, like open your
yeah.
throat, and just let it slide down, like Jenny said. And like Wendell, he
Mini
tried, you know,
throat
but
goat.
yeah, it was like, but he's not the goat. Obviously, based on this episode, he is not the goat
At least
of
not the
throat
goat of
of throat.
knocking down 3 hot dogs in a minute.
It's a
But he
lot.
was so
It's a
close.
lot.
It's a lot
Yeah,
of bun. Again, like that's just sucking all of the saliva out of your mouth, which you need
yeah.
to get it down. It seems simpler than it is. Like I believed it. Like I watched him struggle because it's not like
Mm-hmm.
ew, a hot dog is gross. It's just like that is a short amount of time to eat something that is like big and taking all of the moisture out of your mouth. I don't
Look,
know how else to describe
in the
it.
hot dog eating contest that they do, like those championships,
Yeah,
the sport, they give you water, and I see like people
right.
dunking the
Which
bun
is
in the water.
disgusting to me.
Oh yeah,
Why are you
that
even doing
that's
that?
disgusting. Not
Yes,
the stick of
soggy
butter.
bread is disgusting. Okay, I have, like, trauma from a soggy cookie in my, like, childhood. So any
From
sort of, like
one soggy cookie.
so there was this girl on a school bus with me, and, I we were going home from school, and I was hungry and she's like, "Oh, I have a cookie left in my backpack or whatever." And she gave me the cookie, and this cookie was soggy and tasted like the entire contents of her backpack, and like it tasted like it was literally I it's one of the clearest memories of my childhood, which is how I know it's trauma because I'm like I couldn't tell you anything about this time in my life. I will always remember the soggy cookie. It was I'm sorry, the idea of a wet bun, ugh, vile,
Yeah, uh, give me the wet bun
disgusting.
over the give me the wet bun over the sweetened milk fat. I'll take the wet bun
No.
over the mustard. Uh, oh my
Maybe
god,
if
the
the
stick
bun
of
was
butter.
soaked in mustard. If the bun was just
Yeah, if it's
so
soggy and
mustard soaked,
condiment, does that count? Like if it's like in
that's
chili
better.
and like
But just
cheese and
dunking
stuff.
but that's different. That is different. It's still kinda gross, but if it has a flavor to it and you can, like, understand why it's wet, but the idea of willingly taking a bun and dunking it into water and then being like, "Ugh," like, no, it's so gross. I hate it.
I got nothing, Jenny. I got nothing. I
Mustard,
don't know.
different story. Anyway,
Uh-uh.
this was vile, and all of the gagging that was going on was the worst. Like, I do not like the sound of gagging. It was very uncomfortable for me.
Me neither.
This was
Everybody should
definitely one
stop
of those.
gagging.
Please stop gagging. Like, I know that some of that was post prod. Like, I know that
You think
they
so?
were adding. I
Like
think they
CGI
added some of those
gags?
noises in post, but
Yeah.
it was very, very terrible for me. Anyway, we're ultimately gonna get down to it's Jill versus Wendell, because unfortunately Jill made it back from the doctor, but she
Only to go
still was
out first.
elimination first. She could have had some
Yeah.
more time with Phaedra's doctor.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you hate to see it. And let's hand it to Wendell. He puts up he tries. He tries to gather some votes here. He rightfully goes to CJ and says, "Hey, we got to do something about this Davon and Jill and Pal thing. They're just going to like run to the end." And she's like, "I don't want to vote for Jill, but you're right. Like, I'm probably just going to be next." And we're ultimately nothing's going to come of it. It doesn't look like he made any traction in this vote at all, because we didn't get the rest of the votes revealed, but at the time that Wendell was eliminated, it was like 4-1,
Yeah.
which leads me to believe that if there were any more votes for Jill, that we would have had something a little bit more suspenseful. So
Yeah, I mean, if Wendell doesn't get Joe, he doesn't survive this round, and I think that's really what it comes down to.
yeah,
Because even
yeah.
if he got CJ, himself, and Jason to all vote for Davon, Jill's not going to vote for Davon. Paula's not going to vote for. I'm sorry, vote for Jill. Davon's not going to vote for Jill. Joe
Don't have the number. Yeah, you need Joe.
Right, they just don't have the
yeah.
number. You need to have Joe, and without Joe, it's not gonna work. And sadly, Wendell has voted for Joe twice this game, so it would be foolish for Joe, no matter what the pitch, to say, "All right, Wendell, I'll work with you." Yeah. Now, would Wendell telling him the truth in the moment? Sure. But when people's back up against the wall, you cannot believe them, because they'll say anything to get out of the situation, and then they will forget how it felt when they needed you and cut you the first chance they get. So yeah, there was nothing Wendell could do here without Joe's vote.
Yeah, and I understand where Joe is coming from, because even though like what Wendell is saying is correct about like the faction of Davon and Jill and Paula like being a tight three, and where he stands in that structure, being like that is true. Joe we also has some chances to win himself into a position where this could still work out for him, and he ultimately is in a better position to do that without Wendell being there anyway. And you kind of can't put the toothpaste back in the tube at this point. Like, Wendell's been voting for Joe. Joe has his clear shot to get him out and finish the job. You can't go back on it at that point. So I understand this from Joe's standpoint, but Wendell goes out super, super classy. Not shocking. He says some lovely stuff. He seemed
He does a bit.
seemed like he had he does a little bit where he had his winner's speech, the little scroll. He's like, "Oh wait, this was my winning speech," and he tosses it in the fire.
We wasted that whole roll of toilet paper just for that. Well, look, I like Wendell dad joke era. Like I'm happy that he's made
preparing.
Yeah.
So he says, he's not sad. He's very happy to have 6 friends, maybe more. I would say definitely more.
More.
And what I loved about Wendell's exit is, he's not bitter. He's like very much seems like, okay, Davon, like this is Davon's game to lose. And I think that he's rooting for her. Like, I think he wants her to, have opponents and make her work for it. But I think he fully believes in her capabilities. And, I love to see him going out rooting for her and basically being like, yeah, okay, this is what. Now is he calling the shot?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like Jill might be in a better position than Davon, but at the same time, they got some challenges coming up, and Jill can barely move. So there's that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
she's definitely not
Joe,
still moving, like, she's not in a great position.
no,
Like, she's there, she's hanging
she,
on, but
she
yeah.
exists, but it's gonna be tough for her to win some of these challenges, I'm sure. And then Joe, of course, says that yeah, I beat Wendell. Thus, that proves that Survivor is a harder show than The Bachelor. And so I'll be asking Wendell that exact question during the exit interview.
I would love to know what Wendell has to say to that. I think Joe is being cheeky. Like, I love cheeky Joe.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. Two things can be true.
Mm-hmm.
Bachelor can be a harder show than, or be harder in ways that you might not see
Mm-hmm.
from watching it on television. That can be true, but also being harder than Survivor can not be true. Like, so to me, I take this as Joe just being cheeky and silly, and loving the fact that he beat someone who won a game like Survivor in this game. A little self-deprecating humor almost from Joe here, which I love. But yeah, Wendell's taking his own digs on the way out, where he's being like, I got humbled, I got beat by the guy, like the guy from The Bachelor took me out, like
Mm-hmm.
I'll miss their little friendship. It was like a frenemy kind of situation, but also seemed like mutual respect between Joe and Wendell. Very, very fun between the two of them. But yeah, I don't know. You heard it here first. The Bachelor is harder than Survivor.
Look,
They do
I
make them
have
stay up super late that first night.
I have way more faith in Wendell on Survivor than The Bachelor. I will say that.
Yeah.
I just yeah, not
I mean,
I just don't see it for him.
he's Riz God though. Like, I don't know. I think that if you're that charismatic, like, I think you can probably succeed in most shows.
Yeah. Yeah. After the show though, it might be tough.
Yeah. Well, that's tough for a lot of people in a lot of cases.
Yeah, on the Bachelor doesn't work out for a lot of people. That is true.
No, really not. Yeah. So yeah, you will be speaking with Wendell
Yes.
tomorrow, or today, or tomorrow.
The exit interview will be out shortly after this recap
Shortly
podcast.
after this. Yes.
Yes.
What is time? I don't know.
What is time?
And so that is great. Be sure to check that out with Chappelle. I'm very excited to hear what Wendell has to say. I really didn't think we were going to lose him this episode, so I'm shook. But I'm grateful for the time that we had with him on the show. Had a really good time. Anything else from this episode, Chappelle?
Nope, that's about it. We got to see who wins the GOAT next week, and then what happens with the elimination. I think that there's a lot of possibilities and a little gameplay left, and we still, once again, you and I've signed up for a show that we don't know the end game. We have no clue how the GOAT is going to be crowned, and so I'm very excited to see what's coming next.
Based on the preview, again, I really don't want to do this because I ended up eating my words this week, but preview showed the conflict seemed to be about like Paula versus CJ maybe, and like Joe also says, asks CJ if she thinks she's a target, and she says she is. No, like Davon in trouble content, which makes me think, like, Davon going to be the GOAT next week? Maybe, I don't know.
Would hope so.
I really hope I'm not jinxing her. So we will see what happens next. As I mentioned, Chappelle, you have your exit interview with Wendell coming up. What else do you have going on besides that?
Well, this week on Recap Kickback, I have coverage of the show Clipped. Clipped is the story of the LA Clippers as told in this dramatization starring Lawrence Fishburne as Doc Rivers. I'll be bringing that to you with the Duo Sports and Stuff podcast on Recap Kickback. So that should be up this weekend. But coming soon, if not already in your podcast feed, you should see Tyrone and I had a conversation about depression and anxiety and discussed the show Council Culture, starring Nick Cannon and a slew of other celebrities and psychotherapists and marriage and family counselors and a bunch of professionals to talk about some of the issues that plague men in the world, including anxiety and depression. So me and Tyrone had a very serious conversation for once about something, and it's an intimate podcast, but it's up there on recapkickback.com, so check it out.
That
Yeah.
sounds like it's for me. Like,
Yeah. Don't.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not for me,
Yeah.
but it sounds like right up my alley, in
Yeah,
terms
don't
of,
text me. When you listen to it, don't text me. I don't want any
okay,
hearts. I don't want any. No, no, I don't want any
you're gonna
emojis.
make
No,
me
the little
cry.
crying out. Yeah, see,
Ugh,
stop, cut it out. That's not what this is for.
okay.
And so check that out. And then stay tuned because on Recap Kickback, we got House of the Dragon coverage coming soon. Mari and I are going to be covering House of the Dragon on Hot D, the Westeros Kickback. And so stay tuned. We're going to do a preview of season 2, kind of, and introduce what we're doing over there on Recap Kickback, and then keep up with House of the Dragon coverage moving forward. I also got some other podcasts in the work too, but Recap Kickback is popping right now as we're on our journey to 1,000 subscribers. So if you have not subscribed to recapkickback.com, go to the YouTube page, youtube.com/@recapkickback, and hit that subscribe button and help me get to 1,000 subscribers. It's been such a fun journey, but I do need more help and more listeners and more subscribers. Also, you can catch me and Jenny talking about MILFs here on RHAP. The Manor is open, the MILFs are out, and I will be joining Jenny, Puya, and Rob at various different times to talk about this season of MILF Manor. And like I said, it's a lot of stuff going on, but you can find me on all platforms at Recap Kickback for more.
Such a busy man. Eternally grateful for the time that I get with you, covering
Thank
such a
you.
fun and silly show. I will echo that sentiment. Go subscribe to this man. Recap Kickback. Get him to 1,000. He deserves it and more. But yeah, like I said, MILF Manor is the other manor I'm residing in when I'm not at the Goat Manor. And other than that, you can catch me on social media at Jenny Autumn. And we'll be back next week to cover episode 8 of the Goat as we cruise into the final 6 here. And until then, we'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye.
Peace.